Utilizing dashboards is incredibly beneficial for analyzing large amounts of data, which is a lot of what we're doing, is sending a lot of emails to a lot of people. And so seeing it in this more visual way, it makes it a lot more easy to digest. We also have that data changing in real time or really close to real time. So as an email is sent out of Marketing Cloud, I think it's about 15 minutes later, you would be able to see that represented in a dashboard. Another big benefit, and I know efficiency is at the front of many of our minds in light of COVID, we can avoid manual work. And so I think in the past, it's been difficult to get a lot of this data in a usable way. And so either you might have decided, it's not worth the effort of doing, or you were spending a lot of time doing it. And so either route, the hope is that this should make it much easier, much more accessible to everyone. Of course, looking at the ability to actually track progress. So we'll be able to go back historically to about April of 2019 when we did an upgrade. So our data does go back over a year at this point. And so why look at that progress? What is it really ultimately benefiting you in? And help you look at strategy. How can you use this data, see where you've been, where you are today, and make a plan for where you're going. I do think it's important to set the stage that I think sometimes people want really easy answers. And they might ask what might seem like a simple question: are my business units' emails successful? And when it comes down to it, that's a really difficult question to answer. And that's not what e-com is here to tell you. At no point are we looking at this data to analyze it and compare it against different people to say, this person's doing really well, this person's not doing well. That is absolutely not the goal. And so with that in mind, and knowing that it's up, as much as we would say it's up for interpretation, you need a lot of context around all this data that you're seeing. It is a snapshot. There's a lot of other components at play, things that we at this level do not know. And so that's going to be for you to digest and for you to assess with you and your team. So while a dashboard is not going to simply answer this question right on the wall, yes, you are doing great, keep doing exactly what you're doing, it's not going to answer that question. But as I said, it will help provide easy to understand and quantifiable data for interpretation. So again, very important to remember that only when used in combination with other information, as well as your unit's criteria of success, will it be useful. So when we talk about dashboards, you might be thinking, well, maybe I've seen one of these before. And if you logged into Salesforce since April of 2019, when we did our most recent upgrade, you absolutely have seen a dashboard. And so it's presented on that home page when you log in. And so I have a screenshot here, which is actually no longer there. We've gone ahead and revamped it. And so what we've been able to do with this newer dashboard, and what you should be able to walk away with at the end of today's session, is seeing that this email send data is much more in depth. Not only are we digging much deeper, you can also get far more granular. So we'll look at how to specifically assess what's going on your particular campus, as well as what might be occurring at a business unit. Probably what you're most interested in. And the other part that can be fun to play with is different time frames. So you might be interested in first assessing the largest time frame possible, again, being from April 2019 until today. Or maybe you can react a bit more in a more agile fashion. And so maybe you need to look at a shorter time frame. But you have the power to do that. And that's exactly what we're hoping you feel like walking away, that you have a little bit more control to dig much, much deeper, as well as much more specific to your work. I'm going to go ahead and just hop right on into Salesforce, and you're welcome to do the same. If you're not familiar with our ecom homepage, I do highly advise you bookmark it. It's cu.edu/ecom. So this website really does have a ton of the resources. When we promote them out, this is the first place that we put them, so a great place to get up-to-date information about what's going on at ecom. But for now, I'm just going to hop into our login, the far right in the navigation at the top. And at this login screen, you'll see the ability to log into Salesforce, Marketing Cloud, as well as Cvent. So I think it is important to remember that the data that we will really be diving into today will be a reflection of work that occurred in Marketing Cloud. That's where users log in, build their emails, and actually hit send. All the data on that email, however, is sent back to Salesforce. So that is where we will be actually viewing and analyzing this dashboard today. So clicking into Salesforce, it is single sign-on, so you might need to select your campus. Mine's already defaulted to Systems since I work there, but it should be the same username and password you would log into your email with. So once you've logged into Salesforce, the home page that you're presented with is going to have the new dashboard that we have created. Everyone should see that. And so I'll highlight a couple of different components, some tips around navigating your way through these dashboards. And the first one is that since it's kind of condensed because we have the secondary column over here. So when I'm looking at this dashboard, I do like to open it just to make it full width. So I went ahead and opened up that dashboard. And another little tip that we'll see, and I'll show you here, is on the far left, you can see when was this dashboard ran, or when was it most up to date. And in this case, it's telling us that was at 10:14. But if at any point you're looking at this data and you think, oh, it seems out of date, or I sent an email yesterday and I'm not seeing it on here, refreshing we'll get that data up to date, and then you would see that new date and time reflected here. It is important to note to be patient with it, give it time in order to render all this information, because as we can see right here, we're looking at all of our campuses over all time. So again, back to 2019 of April. And we've done a lot of work in here. So just be patient with it. If it feels like it's giving you bad information, it's probably just hasn't fully downloaded. And so I'll quickly run through the components that you'll see on this dashboard. So of everyone, all emails that we've been sending over all time, that's been 9.4 emails. So somebody has hit send, or at least 9.4 thousand times, which is a lot of manually triggered emails. And of those emails, it's gone out or been delivered to 72 million email addresses. So there will be overlap as far as what people receive those, right? They're not unique individuals. Looking at that information over time, you can go ahead and, interesting, it can look at different months. Why would we have had these spikes in June? Oh, I have no idea. It might be when you're looking at some of these large pieces of data, it might be cutting off some of it. And so one trick I like is that you can open up or expand individual components and see them a little bit better. And then you can also move in between different components. And the next chart we see here, interesting to look at what emails of yours are performing well. where are we seeing some of our highest open rates as well as your highest click-through rates. But you can also scroll through and see those that might have not performed as well. A great way to assess trends in what people are engaging most with. This next section here, we're looking at, and it's interesting as you go through this, it's a lot of similar information, but a slightly different perspective on it. So looking across average open rates and average click-through rates. So over that time frame and everyone, what's our average open rate? And that 41.9% is pretty good as far as an industry standard. So very impressed there. And same is true for that 5.5 click rate. But will be interesting for you all to look down at a business unit level. Partnering with that, you can look at, is there a correlation between these open and click rates and who is sending these communications? Is there a trend in it being someone's name versus a department or a campus name that you can identify? Our next chart, looking at similar information, but again, across different months. So are there trends over different times? Are there cycles when people are more engaged or less? This next row, we look across at unique information. It's going to go back in time historically, but looking at what message went out. It went to 927 people, 612 opened it, and 111 actually clicked into that email. So just one more way to assess it. I love this idea as well that I can't take credit for. Kayla Boyer, our e-com specialist from the UCCS campus, but she wanted to look at what's the difference between unique opens and total, and same goes for clicks. And so the idea here was, is there content that we sent out that people have gone back to repeatedly? Is there opportunity to re-promote it in another way? This final row looks more at bounces. So if you are adamant about somebody getting a communication, it's a good way to look at, did it have some spike? Were there email addresses that were bad? And so we had a really high bounce rate. So looking at that data here could be a good indicator. Oh, that email was really important. It had a high bounce rate. I'm going to go look at it in Marketing Cloud to see who actually bounced, so I can make sure to get a good email address for them so I can get it in their inbox because it's that important. One other thing that should be pretty user-friendly is that up there in these filters, you have the ability to filter down based off of campus at this point. So if you're interested in what's going on just at Anschutz, and furthermore, maybe you want to know what's just went on more recently from yesterday to today. You can see the little breadcrumbs I'm leaving exactly to getting further down specific to business units. And so I'm going to go back to my home page. And so once you're in Salesforce, it is just this home tab. So what, as I just showed, right, this was the same dashboard I had just opened in another tab. Here you're limited to just looking at campus. And what you all want is probably over here in the right-hand column. So we can see these e-com resources up here, which existed before, but we did reformat this somewhat. So logging into Marketing Cloud you can do here, as well as logging into Cvent. Also, if you ever need to submit a help ticket, there's a link there, as well as other events that we might be hosting. But today's session specifically, you probably want to look at business unit dashboards. So I'll just go ahead and open up one of these. And so I'll go forward with the idea that I am at the Boulder campus and I want to look at a Boulder business unit. So when you open up that dashboard, you'll be able to go down 3 levels. So one, all, is going to be everything at CU. regardless of the campus, everything. You can also look at just CU Boulder, but what you all probably want more are all of these other specific business units. So if you work at the College of Music, that might be one that you would go ahead and click into and see what activity's been going on. And I do just want to make a point to say, if one, you're struggling to find it, just let us know. There's absolutely a chance that we just missed one. There could have been a change in information that happened 6 months ago that we just haven't been able to dig enough into each individual business unit. There are about 180 of them across all the campuses. And so we will rely on you to confirm that your business unit is in here. And if it's not, we'll happily get it added.